That's a good question.
So for me, it was like accidentally. Kind of, not really. Well, my journey started when I became a yoga teacher, or when I started practicing yoga and going to the gym with my brother. At the time, my family owned a bunch of stuff, like a grocery store, 2 restaurants, a plaza, electronic manufacturing company. My parents are big entrepreneurs, and of course we're in college and we gotta put our hands into the business with them. So I was handling all helping my parents out with accounting and finances and stuff like that. But with all of that chaos, there needs to be some kind of healthy therapy.
Yeah.
Yoga was mine, so I went to yoga. Yoga saved my life so many times. And then when we moved here, I became a yoga teacher. Then I had Sophia right after, and then I was like, I want to do training too, because I lifted weights before, and I'm like, for me, yoga and lifting weights came all together at one. I can't just do one or the other,
right.
So that's my fitness journey. I went through a lot of ups and downs as far as after having a kid, learning a brand new body. It's it's the same body, but not really.
Yeah.
And how I got into teaching it to others, I seriously couldn't find any passion doing anything else. Yes, I was good with numbers. Yes, I was a really big nerd in high school. I went to accounting competitions. People go to sports competitions or some kind of extracurricular. I went to accounting competitions, business development competitions.
Wow.
In high school. And in college, I already put myself into my parents' businesses and stuff like that. And that never really made me happy. It's not until Sophia was her first year, I had to go get a job at a desk, and I was just I am so miserable. I hate this. And then I became a server, and then that's when I realized I really love people. And then that's when I took on personal training again, because my brother reminded me how much I loved fitness and stuff like that. I was like, okay. So I just listened to him, and I got my cert, and then that's how I wound up here.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
What about you?
Yeah. Same for me. It was an accidental thing as well. For me, I grew up. I was kind of doing more entrepreneurial things. I would sell we had an apple orchard, and I'd sell apples down at the corner.
Really?
When I was in elementary school, because we had 100 apples, apple trees in our orchard, and so we had lots of apples. So we're let's just get rid of them, sell them pairs. And then we moved to Minnesota when I was in high school. And then I was doing, putting on plays with my friends, and really got into theater and the arts. And I didn't really realize why I was at the time, just because I liked interacting with people, hanging out with people, doing fun things like that. And then it was always active though, liked to play sports, played softball, played volleyball, played pretty much every sport that I could.
Cool.
Soccer and basketball weren't so great for me because I have asthma.
Oh, yeah,
so
I had it too.
Yeah. So it was really tough for me to do the running part of it. So I ended up picking up, my mom had an old Soloflex, kind of Bowflex knockoff that she had used growing up, and that we just apparently still had it in the basement. So she was like, okay, you want to get stronger, you want to be able to be more healthy. Here's the pamphlet that came with it, all the little exercises. So I got to learn different things like a leg press or a weighted squat with the machine bands thing, like a bench press and or the donkey raises and things like that. That were just I think there was a lot of them were based off Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think he was involved in that or something. I don't remember. That's how I kind of got into weightlifting sort of, but I was mostly more into calisthenics, push-ups, pull-ups, body weight squats, things like that. I lived on a farm, so I was always out and about, moving and active. So I never thought about fitness as a career. I was just well, that's just, you do that, right? That's just normal life. And then I got to the point where I went to college for film, because I was okay, that's what I want to do. I really like it, making short plays with my friends and making short little videos and things like that. And graduated, got a job at a desk, and I went, I like editing videos, but not 40 hours a week. editing videos at a desk. And then my fitness just got, put to the side because I had so little time to, be fit because I was working 40 hours a week at a job and then like trying to manage, my boss and my coworkers and like trying to be friends with them and like I can't let my fitness slide.
Yeah.
And then I just ended up saying, you know what, I need to get back into shape. And because I'd gone up 200 pounds. And so then I was like, oh, this is like a wake-up call. Like, I thought I was being fit. I'm not, because I'm not going to the gym, not doing anything. So I went to like a big box gym for the first time. And I was at 200 pounds. And for 6 months, all I did was like cardio.
Mm-hmm.
Like I ran on the treadmill.
Like
everybody else, right? You join the gym and do cardio. Because I didn't know what to do. And I was like, I don't want to touch any of these equipment because it's not the SoloFlex. So I don't know what I'm doing. I don't look like an idiot, right? So I just spent 6 months and wasn't getting anywhere. And then I found some tutorials on YouTube of like, I think it was bodybuilding.com.
Yeah,
but I went
that's such a good resource.
So I went, I can actually learn how to do these exercises before I go to the gym. So then I would like look at the video and have it on my phone and watch it, and then go to the gym and then like at the bench like look at it.
I would print it out.
There you go.
I would print mine out just like how they have it. Yeah.
And then like the programs, I'd print that out on like a little like piece of paper, and, like fold it up, put it in my pocket, take it to the gym, like write it down, and then put it back in my pocket.
You know what? Nowadays, if I go to the gym and if I have something written down on a piece of paper, my gym session is like killer. Like bomb. But if I go in, it's just like, I'll just do this, I'll do that. Like I have a so-so workout. But
even
now,
as a trainer.
Yeah, even as a trainer. I read a post this morning about somebody, it's like this long story about basically somebody's new at the gym, they were using machine the wrong way, but there's another group of people that was making fun of that girl, and like they start pulling out their phones and recording her, and then she's like in tears, and this person who's doing the post, they're saying, they stopped them, they got those people banned from the gym, but she made a new friend, just, you don't know where people are at their journey. That girl, one of her parents just died from, being overweight and stuff like that. So that's why she showed up at the gym. But it's just not fair if people just are making fun of you or judging you when you're trying to, you show up for you, And it's just like, that's so bad that people are like that. But at the same time, it's like, you gotta give people even yourself some compassion of like your journey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it sounds like you had that similar journey of like trying to figure out like slowly learning piece by piece like what you actually like to do, what you were interested in,
Even if like becoming a trainer, you have your own methodology. Like there's so many methods. There's like so many different types of ways to get the body that you want or get your there's so many different body types. There's so many variables that go into it. Like sometimes before the summer, I was all about like just HIIT, circuit training and everything like that, just dumbbells and things like that, or like calisthenics. But then just during the summer, training with Jamie, I got more into functional training, more about the compound movements, more about like, everything. There's just so much to learn and to experience with yourself, with your own body, and with, teaching others to do the same too.
Yeah.
Holding the space for them to be able to do that safely.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool.
Oh yeah. It's really a learning process to find what your body likes to do. Right? Does your body respond well to like the compounds, or do you respond better to doing maybe more like calisthenics work? Or different kinds of training. Do you do better with HIIT? Do you do better with do you prefer long runs? Like some people just like to do marathons.
Yeah.
Right? It's like
people
cool. I don't, but
me neither.
it's like you love that and that works for you and your body loves it.
Yeah.
Do it. So all these like I keep hearing studies getting cited. I'm probably sure you run across this too. Where like this study said this and this study said that, but really it's like yes, that's true for a general like the sample size, right? But there might be outliers in that study. They're just saying as a general rule. So just because a study said so doesn't mean if your body hates it, you should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? What is the best way to get rid of a muffin top? The first thing I go to is like your diet. Muffin tops for me are mostly from a lot of sugar. And I get it because I get it. I have like a huge sugar addiction before, and like I work with my clients about this too. They are coming to a realization that like food is actually an addiction. It's like, why do I feel bad? Why do I feel like I'm stuck in this body? Like, you have to just notice that there are these thoughts and this voice that tells you that you can have it, that you should have, you deserve it, you know. And at the same time, you don't want to demonize sugar as something to like.
Yeah.
Because once you demonize it, you're like restraining yourself from it, and then once you're like, I'm doing good. I'm just gonna have some more of it, you know.
Yeah.
It's finding that balance, owning your power, knowing what's good for you, and acting regardless of how you're feeling. For me, I noticed that a lot of my binge eating episodes, I'm a huge binge eater, like huge. That's just how I numb myself, because I don't really drink, I don't do drugs, I can't find any other way to like avoid a problem. And everybody has this problem. Nobody's perfect, you know, like every human being has problems, and they struggle with something, and they find their way to avoid it just a little bit longer, you know, whether it's going, whether it's like going out for drinks with friends or going out. For me, I was really sheltered. I was at home all the time, and I just went to the fridge. I went to the food, but anyway, back to the question, muffin top. It's all about your diet. It's hard to get at first, but that's why you hire somebody or just have an accountability partner that has got just a few steps ahead of you. They know enough to like be there with you, because they know how you're feeling, and like talk you out of it. Help you, not save you from yourself, but more of just like help you make the choice, you know. Like even I have this friend that helped me, like literally took the food away from my house, you know, and just like threw it in the trash. I'm like, that's a waste of money, you know. I just got that. But it's like, it's all for your own good. Like for me, I know that if I eat a lot of sugar, if I like indulge in sugar, lots of carbs, like in an unhealthy way, like eating way more than what my two hands can hold, which is like how much your stomach can handle. I get my energy slower. I'm not able to love people around me. And you know, like if we're living life, we're supposed to live life fully. And be our most, you know, fully expressed selves, totally clear. But if we're so stuck with like our problems and avoiding our problems and eating all the sugar and eating that and like, I have a muffin top or I'm not happy with something, like that's where the problem is. But it's all on being aware on your thoughts, like that voice is being mean to me, but I'm not going to listen to it. I'm still going to take that healthy action. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it comes from impatience too.
Yes.
You know,
that whole impulsive, like,
it has to be now.
Gratitude, like instant gratification.
And even with like wanting to get rid of the muffin top, or you know, wanting to avoid problems, like not being patient, being willing to like suffer through for a little bit.
Go through it, That's so true.
But a lot of stuff I'm noticing in my life, like a lot of stuff comes down to impatience, right? It's like, oh, but I want to be able to do, you know, I want to lift, you know, this many pounds of weight. I wish I could do it now. And then we try and look for shortcuts, right? It's like, well, maybe if I cheat a little bit on this, you know, I can get another 5 pounds out, right? It's like, but then it's not really worthwhile. If we're, you know, we got to have goals. We also got to have a process to get those goals. And that balance, it's a really hard balance to find when, you know, you want to achieve a goal, right? You want to get to a certain weight, you know? But you also have to be patient to get there. But if you don't want to get there, you won't actually do the work to get there. But you just love doing the work to get there. So it becomes a little bit of a balancing act, where it's like you still have to have your goal, but you have to have it as more of like it's an out there thing, and you're doing your process now.
You have to be real about it. Like be realistic about that. Like you can't have it right now. And I think that's just how our culture is lately, our society is. You know. But that's such a table.
Sorry.
That's a really good point. I never seen it. Like I never looked at it that way. Yeah. Having like giving yourself more patience, more love to like go through the process. Like you know, like Gary Vee says, enjoy the process. Like that's where where it's at, not the destination. Because if you just get to a destination, you find out that you're unhappy anyway. So then that's all just like a waste of time.
If you're just like only happy when you have the thing, it's like that thing lasts for so little. You know, even if it's like, okay, I got the car that I wanted, but you know, after you get a new car, after a couple weeks, you're like, okay, it's like, okay, cool, whatever, you know. So it's just after the car, after the next, you know, the next amount of money or the next, you know, weight drop or whatever, then I find it's life can get pretty hollow because you're just always waiting for the next high, and then you're just suffering the rest of the time. It's like, why would you want to suffer for that much of your life?
Yeah.
But we do it because we are so goal oriented, which is good. It's good to have goals, but it's like it's that balance. It's like either way sounds horrible, but it's like it's just that middle ground.
A little bit of everything. A little bit of both. Yeah. That's what I was gonna ask you. How do you feel about New Year's resolutions? Are you someone who like always do them? Are you someone who never does them? Like,
I used to try and do New Year's resolutions, mostly because like it was a family thing that we would do, and I would like join in. But I noticed that most of the time, people that I knew wouldn't ever follow through. We'd say it, we get together on New Year's Day, and be like, these are our resolutions, and then at the end of the year, it'd be the same thing next year. And so I was like, well, yeah, New Year's resolutions are great if you're actually going to do them. And so I try and only have like one or two maybe that are like for a year long. Like, okay, by the end of the year, I want to get this. But then I work my way back. So I actually have probably like 20, but it's really based off of the one goal that I have at the end of the year. And I work back, okay, that means that by June I need to have done this, by January I need to have done this, and then I can go, okay, this week I need to do this so I can get my January goal. So that's more of how it is a resolution, but not, I guess, your typical, what I think of as New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
What about you?
Lately I've just been playing around with a bunch of different things because like I had a awesome year this year, and I did make New Year's resolutions, but I didn't really call them New Year's resolutions because I started them in November.
There you go.
Like October, November, right? Really early. I didn't think like, oh, this is the new year, I'm going to do this. More so of like something happened, and then I want to change my life. Like I want to change my life and have a plan for it, and so I stuck with that plan for the whole year, and then it just ended up being New Year's resolutions kind of.
Yeah.
But this year, I looked at a lot of different things. Like, instead of goal setting, I looked at fear setting, which is something from Cynthia. He had a TED Talk about it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to have it be even more powerful and, like, not eliminate my fears, but mostly just, like, have it be in the forefront so that I could still fearlessly, go past my fears. And in turn, hoping that I will have a more powerful year, a year that I never thought I would have because I pushed through all these fears, things like that, right? Also, in setting intentions instead of setting goals. Like, how do you want to feel? Who do you want to be? Like, what type of person do you want to become? Like, what type of energy are you going to be responsible for? Things like that. So this year I have like not half. But little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I'm testing out testing all of them
Yeah.
out. So I just wanted to see if I didn't really notice this until I talked to some of my clients. They never have done, like I had a client that never had done New Year's resolutions.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
There's no people like me.
Every year.
Like, you know what I mean?
You gotta have those resolutions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I had a question. Another question. How many cheat meals can you have in a week and not gain a lot of weight?
That's a good one. And I think it's funny, a lot of these questions end up being about nutrition. Because I think that's the one thing that we don't really address enough, especially in society in general. But yeah, it depends on what you mean by a cheat meal. Does a cheat meal mean, oh, I had, an extra cup of rice? Or does a cheat meal mean I went out and I ate a pizza? Right? Because going out and eating a whole pizza, you can't even do that once a week and, make significant progress. And that's not to say, though, that if you make a mistake, right? Like, obviously, eating a whole pizza is a little bit of a large mistake, but that can happen, and that's understandable. Especially if you haven't eaten all day and it's 9 o'clock at night and you're like, I haven't eaten all day, I need calories, and you eat one. It's like, it's understandable, but the important thing is not to then be sad the next day and then go, oh, well, now I'm off my diet, I might as well just continue the rest of the week to cheat, and I'll start on Monday.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, it's easy to do that.
Yeah, that's super easy.
So, the amount of cheat meals you can have in a week and still lose weight depends on what kind of cheat meals you're having. But the goal is, what I would like to do is change that mindset around how many cheat meals can I have is more of a kind of a negative. It's like, I'm restricting myself. Instead, one philosophy I've started to implement in my life is adding instead of subtracting. So when you're doing nutrition, instead of thinking about I'm taking away sugar, I'm taking away alcohol, I can't have carbs, I can't have this.
That's so disempowering.
Yeah. What I've thought about is take a plate and you go, okay, instead of taking things off my plate, first start with I'm gonna put a bunch of good proteins, good fats, and some nice healthy, fibrous, either leafy greens or carbs or yams or something like that. Fill your plate with that, add stuff to your plate, and then you won't have room for all the junk. And if you eat, a very healthy meal, you'll be full really fast. I, for a long time, for 6 months when I lost, about 60 pounds, what I did was I only ate, chicken and rice and broccoli, even not even rice, like chicken and broccoli and fish and everything. But I found I couldn't even eat my meal. I wouldn't be able to finish my meal. I was used to eating pizza and popcorn and ice cream and soda and all that, and I could eat tons of calories of that. But when I ate clean meats and nice lean meat, healthy vegetables and things like that, I could barely eat 500 calories and I was full because it fills you up. It's what your body really wants and needs. And so if you add good stuff to your diet, you'll just naturally start losing all of the bad stuff. But if you start off the meal with, I'm going to have some fruit juice, right? Oh, that's fruit, right? But it's liquid calories, so your body instantly absorbs it and you're hungry again, Or you end with ice cream and you're like, but now I'm hungry again 5 minutes later because that was empty calories, We always talk about saving room for dessert, right? It's no, just eat your fill. And then if you have extra room for dessert because you worked so hard that day and you didn't realize how many calories you burned, okay, it's okay to have a little bit of a dessert, But instead of having this negative, restricting mindset, have this additive mindset, I think really works around that.
Yeah, well, that's a really good point. With my clients, I always talk about you get to live your life in this program. Food is something that's good. Could be enjoyed, but at the same time, it's I don't want you to think that you have to restrict yourself from so much stuff. It's more of I'm going to give you options that you could play with and experiment to see oh, these are healthy options, they actually taste good, things like that. And sometimes people just don't know what healthy doesn't have to be boring. You know what I mean? I would say put just seasoning on it. You can have as much seasoning, it still tastes great. It still tastes savory, and you're not going to overdo yourself with a bunch of bad or not necessary information. Not necessary. So I think food as information. Whatever you give yourself, it's just your body's a machine. It's just gonna do whatever it says. You give it whatever, gonna cause it inflammation. It's gonna cause inflammation. You're not gonna feel great. And sometimes we already know that. We still know that, but we still do. That's when I'm talking about the binge eating. And, that's where you want to look at okay, that's the whole self-awareness thing. It's why am I is this something that I'm avoiding? It's I know I'm stressed, but I'm just that's when you want to reach out to somebody and probably help you, or you even go to your journal, talk about it with yourself, put it down on paper so that you can find some clarity in that, so you don't have to feel crap and make yourself feel wrong and bad for having too much food, things like that. So the phrase cheat meal, I personally never really used it myself. I just hear it all the time from bodybuilders or people who are really into that.
The hardcore.
The hardcore stuff, which is totally fine. That's good on them. They have really good dedication. But I'm all about living the lifestyle that makes you happy and makes you full of energy and things like that. And everybody is different. Everyone's different. So I'm more of about being the facilitator that helps you safely play with different types of things. Different types of experiments. So for me, I experiment myself just I want to do keto today. No, I never really tried that one. But I've tried intermittent fasting. That's something that that really works for me in my lifestyle because of my hours of work and when I wake up and having kids and doing all that kind of stuff. You have to find something that fits your lifestyle. Sometimes let's say if you go find a trainer and they give you things, just go in with an open mind, because they might, one of the things that I've seen is that sometimes people think that, and I've done this, I'm guilty of myself before, it's like I know everything, this won't work for me,
Yeah.
but I never really tried it, so it's like,
Yeah.
no, I can't, that's
If you
not
haven't tried it,
fair.
you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's all the questions I had over here.
Yeah.
I don't know if you had any.
I was gonna say the intermittent fasting probably works well for people that have a tendency to binge eat.
Ooh.
Because if you think about it, it's like you are technically binging,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you have a 4-hour eating window, you eat all your calories in that window, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like a binge in a way. So it helps you, I guess, quote unquote, binge healthily, even though that's not really true. But you know, it's a way to, if you have that desire to eat lots of food, you know, you can, keep yourself busy all day, and you don't think about, you're busy working and everything, you don't have time to eat. Then in the evening, you're like, okay, now it's my time to eat, and you can eat a big meal, and you can feel full, and you feel satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone that, struggles with binge eating or just likes food in general,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably a good thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I did the intermittent fasting thing as well. It worked for me, but because I have hypoglycemia,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just a high energy person, I burn so many calories during the day. I never did the small eating meals. I always did just a morning fast.
Oh, okay.
I always ate by noon. I would be I would just faint if I hadn't eaten by noon.
Wow.
But it didn't really work as well for me just because I need the smaller meals every day based on my metabolism.
See,
So,
that's why you have to try it.
Yeah.
People who just been doing the same thing and they're seeking out help and stuff. You gotta be patient.
Yep.
And try new things.
Try it. Yeah.
I say I give myself 2 weeks to really feel starting to feel if it works or not.
Right. You gotta give yourself at least a shot.
Yeah. And then after 2 weeks, 4 weeks, you'll feel even more, and then that's when then it really, really works for you and your lifestyle and your body. So
yeah. Yeah. For me, what's worked for me mostly just kind of a semi-paleo type diet.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Just because it's easy for me to do, and I'm funny. I think you'll find this interesting because you like food.
Mm-hmm.
I hate food.
Huh. You have to force
actually
yourself to
eating.
eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could drink all my calories, I would be totally fine.
Ooh.
But that's not healthy. But I would. I love protein shakes because I don't have to actually sit there and eat.
Eat it.
I can just drink it while I'm doing something else.
Huh.
So my whole life, I've always had a struggle sitting down for a meal. It's I was Mom would be like, lunchtime. I'm like, oh, do I have to eat lunch?
Yeah, because you're
Can
so
I just
busy on
not,
task.
Yeah. It's busy doing homework or schoolwork or something, and I was just I don't want to eat. So I'd sit down and be like, okay, eat, and then move. So for some reason, I just don't have that desire. Not that I don't taste food, but I almost don't really taste it. I have to think back and go, oh, that's right, that did taste like that. But I don't remember the tastes of foods like that for some reason. Have that attachment to it.
So, 2 things.
Yeah.
One thing is that I know myself. I feel as though if I'm eating or chewing, that that sound, especially crunchy foods, it will help soften or lower the voice in my head.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I'm just chewing food. I'm just I don't want to listen to myself right now. I'm just chewing food. That's one. Secondly, then I'm thinking, what is your escape? When you are struggling with something or a problem, for me, I know I go to food, right?
Yeah.
For you, if you don't like eating, what do you
Usually for me, it's some sort of entertainment in the sense of
escapism,
yeah,
watching a movie,
a movie or in
playing games
fantasy. I used to read fantasy novels all the
Oh,
time.
okay.
growing up.
Yeah.
I think I read every single book my parents owned,
Wow.
and I read a ton of books from the library. I was always reading.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So I think that's kind of for me, just lots of fantasy, Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes, the originals, mystery books, and I liked mystery books growing up. It was The Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, and I'm trying to think there's tons of books that I read.
That's cool.
But that's for me, books or just stories in general, and then I'll actually sit down, I'll sketch out little story ideas,
Oh, nice.
That's just me escape. It's okay, I'm in the
Use
story.
your creativity.
Yeah.
Thing.
That or the gym.
Uh-huh.
Lifting weights actually really is almost like my therapy in a way.
See, that's the thing with me. So with me, and I've started to say this a lot with my clients, or letting them know that I understand what it feels like to have to push yourself to go to the gym. I have been that person who has literally drove to the gym, waited 15 minutes outside my car, and then walk in. You know?
Yeah.
Like, okay, then I'll have a workout. And
Yeah.
that's when, like, sometimes there's people who use, that's why pre-workout is there. Like, if you get pre-work, especially, then niacin,
Oh, yeah.
you know, your face
The
gets
tingly?
itchy. Yeah,
Yeah.
so everything gets itchy or tingly, and then you're like, okay, now I have to work
I
this
have
out.
to do this, I have to do this, yeah.
Like, there's different, like, crutches that you can,
Yeah.
that people use, and I've done almost all of
All of
them.
them.
But, yeah, there are just, it doesn't really get easier. Not that it doesn't get easier or it doesn't really go away. It's mostly you are building you having the opportunity to build your discipline on however your emotions are feeling and what you say you're going to do.
Yep.
Right. So that's what that's what I talk a lot with my clients about. It's like, it's because I know this. I've done it myself. It's like, we're practicing integrity with our word and with ourselves, and that's where confidence comes from.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where, like, real life happens, right?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Like we talked about on your podcast, you know, about that bank account. You know,
Yep.
the daily deposits of confidence.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
And that's why I think going to the gym is helpful in that sense.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as long as you have the mindset of that you accomplish what you're going to accomplish today and you aren't sad about not hitting a certain number, right? I didn't get 10 reps, I only got 8. Well, you got the reps out, you did it. And that's why I talk a lot about, like, going to failure, because if you fail, you know, well, I couldn't do any more, so I can't feel bad.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, well, my body said no. There's no, because the mind plays a lot with you, you know? You, like, get in your own head and, like, oh, well, could I have done 2 more? Oh, no, so now I'm a failure because I didn't do 2 more. You know, instead of just keep going, When you fail, now you can relax and go, see, and, you know, my body told me no, you know?
Definitely.
Because there are days that I come in and I'm not feeling good. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so tired, didn't sleep well last night, and I'm like, okay, but I'm going to do my workout anyway. Yep.
That's that voice.
And then sometimes I actually do better than on my other days when I felt like I was tired, you know?
Yeah.
So the mind can be very deceiving sometimes. You can get in our own heads and screw with ourselves. It's like, no.
It's that self-awareness.
Stay commitment, you know? Like you're talking about with the plan. Like, you write something out.
Yeah.
You know, you have your own plan for yourself. Even though we're trainers, it's like, we need a plan for ourselves.
Write it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't just go in our head.
Like, yeah. Doesn't work.
Hey, I'll forget.
Yeah.
You know, I have so many things going through my head all day that I probably will forget what I was going to do. Be like, oh, I should have stretched. Oh, crap, I forgot to stretch. Okay, got to do it before I go to bed now. You know? And unless it's written down, then I can go, oh, it's a checklist. You know, and I can make sure I did it. You know?
That's
So, yeah.
Just our brains. They're like so for us for surviving. But at the same time, we're the type of people, or like people in general, we're goal oriented. We want to grow. It's that growth mindset.
Yep.
And then we gotta push ourselves to our edge, but at the same time, our brain, our survival brain, is like, no, stay, you're fine.
Yeah.
Fine. Yeah. Let's see if we have any questions.
Yeah. Did anybody
interested
send
to
any
see if
questions?
we have any questions.
I don't see any questions on here.
There are no questions here.
People, ask some questions. But yeah, for you, like, I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that actually has music to it.
Yeah,
You know? Yeah. I
I
didn't
wanted to
realize
name
that.
her. I think I forgot. I did name her, but for the longest time I was like, I want to name her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like there was one time when the music was low, and all of a sudden I heard that has music when you're doing the scan. I was
like elevator music.
Yeah. And both me and my client were like, "What? There's music? I didn't realize there was music because the music's always so on."
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, like what are like you were talking about like setting intentions, right? Like what are some of your like intentions for the year?
My intentions. Okay, so how
Set your goals.
I go through. I pick out 3 words that I want to live by. Last year was bold, discipline, and fun. And I definitely was those 3 last year, and everything rooted from that. This year is entertaining, authentic, and accountable. So it's a little bit, I love last year so much, so I got, a little bit of this year, just synonyms of it.
Yeah.
But there's something in me, I feel, you know how they, I listened to this podcast and they said something about like, who you were as a child is like you already knew your passion or your purpose,
Yeah.
but while growing up, it all gets lost and just growing up in the school system and your parents, influences around you, you start to shut that part, your inner child out, and then you forget like what brings you most joy. And as children, there's no filter. You're just gonna do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So I got reconnected to mine, and mine was always about entertaining people. Not in a sense of where I'm in the center of attention, in a sense of where I love watching people laugh and smile.
Yeah.
Right? Like I want to give them that sense of relief because I know everyone's struggling, everybody has problems. There are just so much wrong with the world, but I want to be that happy. You know, I want to be that sunshine, that happiness, or something that connects with people that has them see like, oh yeah, life's not that bad.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
So entertaining.
That's a lot like me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for me,
you
it's more I like
creative, like storytelling, which I do want to take on as being a better storyteller, whether through my stories or like I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but I just know I want to practice that.
Yeah, for me it's more of I want to get a reaction out of people.
Oh.
So it's not like as like I want to manipulate people, but like more of a.
Ooh, I'm gonna see.
I want to see how they react to what I said, you know, or what I did. Like, laughter's an easy one. I like making people laugh because you can easily gauge that, right?
Yeah.
But also to like shock people too, with like, oh wow, I like seeing people's light bulb moments too. It's like I'll say like I'll be a little sensational sometimes to like make a point, and then people go, oh, I didn't think of that. And I love that reaction from people. Like I don't know how to phrase that. Like communicate with them that it impacts them in a way.
Yep.
And I think laughter is probably the easiest one. I always thought it was just I want to make people laugh.
Yeah.
But I noticed that my senior thesis film was a World War II film, and not to get into the whole long story about it, but at the end there's a moment where there's a young boy that gets shot by a German soldier, and just it's out of the blue. Like he's having a normal conversation with this other guy, and just boom, he's dead. And I was like, this moment is like the moment of the film that I really wanted to impact people, and I was so worried, are they going to get it? Is it going to impact them? And when that moment came on, we were screening in a theater, and the entire audience went, and I was like, yes, I did my job. I got that reaction.
Nice.
Like, you know, it's like a 5-minute film, but like for me, that was the point. Was like at least wanting to get one emotional connection with them that I somehow influenced them and impacted them.
I got goosebumps. I don't know if you can tell, but
yeah.
Dude, that's so crazy. That's a power, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and it's really good art form or craft to
be able to do that. And
That's
it's
really
just
cool.
anything we do, you know. It can be even with personal training in a different way, you know, where we can impact people's lives, you know, and like change them, you know, completely.
Like show them that they're stronger than what they think they can do.
Exactly.
That's what we get a lot. We get to see that like almost every day.
I know. Yeah.
It's so awesome.
Like we actually get to see it happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like
watch
once.
Them, Yeah, we watch them grow, and they're like, and then I always like to remind my clients, like, do you remember you weren't able to do even a 5-pounder? Now you're doing like 15, 20s,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's so great to see, like, you know, and you have to remind them too sometimes, like you were saying, wait, go look. That's what we take progress photos. Because like you have to go back 6 months ago. Look at where you are now. You may feel upset because you're not where you want. Yes.
What do you say to those people who don't want to take progress pictures, or who are like just like shoving up this, like kind of ignoring it? Like, sometimes I have trouble having people see the benefit of like being able to see where they come from and and how they're working. If you're gonna put in the work anyways, don't you want to see how far you come?
Yeah.
What do you say?
Usually I say like, you know, if you're not comfortable sharing with me, fine, but at least take it for yourself, right? And even if you don't want to, you know, go get down to your underwear, like just like wear something that's at least close fitting enough that you can see the difference later on, but just take a picture because you'll see it in your face, right? That's the first thing that people notice. When you're losing weight from very high body fat, you start seeing your face thin out, and everybody's, you know, like, oh, my body, I still have fat around the waist. Like, but look at your face. Your face is thinner. You know, look at your upper body. You actually have definition. You look like you have wide shoulders now. You know, so I tell them about like other clients that have done that. It's like, yeah, that person did not want to take a before photo, but look, they did, and they're so happy now because they can see that now they're so upset. But when I showed them the before photo, they went, oh wow, look how far I've come. It's like, okay, so see, there is a benefit to it, and if you don't want anybody to see it, do it for yourself. But do it and save it on your phone, save it on a computer, save it for you, so that you can at least in 2-3 months down the road won't be discouraged with your progress. That's what I've said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that on.
Yeah. It's really powerful. It's like, I wish that I had. I didn't. And that's why I tell people, like, I didn't take a picture of myself at 200 pounds because I was way too ashamed. I took a picture when I got down to like 165, and I'm like, I was still like, I'm like, I wish I had had the 200-pound picture because that would have shown so much more progress. Because there was progress between the 160 and the 140 that I went to, but it's nothing compared to what it was before.
Even more impactful.
Yeah.
Because that was a part of your life.
Yeah.
So,
and part of it, I think, you know, with that is like, we're trying to deny that part of our life. You know, it's like, but I don't want to accept the fact that I'm at this stage, and it's understandable, right? Nobody wants to be at a stage of like, I feel like I'm, you know, not what I want to be, I'm a failure or whatever. But it's important to accept who you are now so that you can then improve on it. Because the longer you repress and deny something, the longer it takes for you to fix it. You know,
the more power it has over you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Excuse me. Okay. While you were saying that, I was thinking about this podcast I was listening to about how there's this girl, she had like a part of her story that she didn't like, she was in denial of. It's like, at the end of the day, you are who you are, and that story, without that happening, that wouldn't be, you know, that stepping stone to who you are today, you know? So you gotta own it, but it doesn't mean that you have to be a victim of it. Yeah. So a lot of the times I feel like, do you feel like it's important for people to be introspective and like check in to see how their story is going or to even know their story? I've had one point in my life where I'm like, what's my story? You know, like I was like, I'm just living, you know, I'm just trying my best every day, but
it can happen, you know, that happens. Again, like other people will say, I'm probably a weird person and I do this, but I can be a little bit over analytical about my life. So I always know my story. Maybe to my detriment, I'm a little too critical of my past, and it's like too much about, well, that defines me now. You know, like something that happened in my past. Oh, because this happened to me as a child, that means I can never, you know, because I was, you know, when I grew up, I don't want to, you know, pick on people, but there was some things that happened when I was growing up in high school. I was like, I felt ostracized a little bit. And so that made me feel like, oh, well, I'll never be able to be a social person, right? I just have to accept the fact that I'm shy, reserved, I'm never going to be out and about with people, yet I also like to make people laugh. So that was kind of something that I was trying
to,
it goes
against
you
each
know,
other.
But for a long time I let that define me and say, oh, because I had this experience in my past, that means I now have to continue to live that way. Instead of saying, well, no, I had that experience that has influenced me, now I'm just going to take that knowledge and then set it to the side and then just be myself going forward.
So that whole shy thing was a limiting belief.
Yes.
Right. So how much do you think our limiting beliefs have as far as impacting our health and well-being, our fitness and our nutrition? And
I think it has a huge impact.
Even though it has nothing to do with like, you know, like you being shy. What does that have to do with you eating or showing up to the gym, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think?
Because it then compounds, right? Because you start with that letting that control you, but then once you let one thing control you, it's easier to let the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And pretty soon you know, all of a sudden it's like, oh, well now this food, you know, is not going to control me because you've let yourself out of control. You've let other things start manipulating you instead of taking control back. And so sometimes if someone has a problem with food, and I'm not a psychologist, but sometimes if someone has a problem with food or training or something like that, oftentimes it goes back down to, you know, a limiting belief of like, oh, well, this happened in my childhood, so I have to be this way now. And then that's actually the root cause of all this. So you can do all you can to fix the diet and training and everything when the root cause is a psychological issue. You know, that's when you're like, okay, it's good to go see a therapist or somebody, you know, to figure out what the heck's wrong with me, you know, my life, like what's going on, you know. And that can also affect everything. You know, the little things that we let control us. It's really just letting other things control you. And if you can have that presence of mind and analyze and know your story and go back and learn your story and go, okay, this is why I'm doing what I am today, then you can almost fix yourself in a way by just going, oh, once you acknowledge it, once you know about it, you can just say, okay, push it to the side and move on. You know, it's easy to say, it takes more work to do, but you can do it. Because now you know, and every time it comes up, right? You're not
you
wondering.
can be responsible for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're not wondering why am I doing this. It's I know why.
Mhm.
Oh no, go to the side again. Okay, get out of here. Get out of here. You know.
Mhm.
So it's a progress, but I think that like that affects everything. One little thing. You know, this one little thing affects
Mhm.
everything in your life.
Mhm.
It's amazing.
One little story you made up in your
Yep.
little.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's see if we have any more questions.
Any more questions?
I see some typing.
I see some people.
Excuse me.
Do we have a podcast? Yes.
I do. Yes, I
Jaclyn-
have a podcast.
she has
It's
a
called
podcast.
Spark It Up. Yeah.
It's on iTunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just put my name, Jaclyn Nguyen, or Spark It Up. Or you can go to my Instagram at Sparkle by Choice, and I have it on my bio, on the link in my bio.
And I am hopefully
And
this will be the
this
first
video.
episode of my podcast, so that'll be up soon. I will let you guys all know when that
By
happens.
the way, I am very honored to be your first guest.
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
so honored. So I was like, when he asked me, I was like, oh, I'm so down. I'm not even gonna doubt it one single bit. So yeah.
That was awesome. Yeah.
I made it happen.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. How far are we on time? Do we have? Because I do want to talk about
Yeah.
so when we talked about limiting belief and going inside to see what we need to like be responsible for, and oftentimes where our brain goes to like, hey, it kind of feels overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I got so much to fix. But if you were to take it from, so there are some people who just like come from nothing. It's like, this
Yeah.
is a new moment. This is
Yeah.
nothing right now. So
Yeah.
everything in the past doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like, what you do right now matters. So,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
what you do right now is the only time that exists or
Yeah.
only time that matters. So, what are your thoughts on having that balance and the importance of, like, are you a believer of, like, doing the whole introspective stuff, or are you a believer of both? You know, like,
a little bit of
where
both.
are you on
Yeah.
that scale?
For me, it's like it's funny. My grandma always told us growing up, everything in moderation.
Mm-hmm.
Which was talking more about food, but I have found that to apply to a lot of things in life, where it's like the right course is usually right down the middle of the road. It's never all the way one way or all the way another way. Usually, most of the time, it's just pretty much the middle of the road. A little bit of alcohol's okay. You know, don't become a drunk, right?
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, doing no alcohol ever is a horrible, terrible, awful thing. Is a bad thing too,
Yeah.
right? Because, you know, it's okay to have that one glass of wine to relax if
Yeah.
that's what even if you like it. If you don't like alcohol, then you don't need to do it.
Yeah.
But
Just
if you
try
like
it
it,
out.
there's
Yeah, it
no
doesn't
there's
hurt.
no stigma with it,
Yeah.
right? Something
Mhm.
like that. But even just in going back to what was the question again?
The question.
The introspective.
Are you
Yeah.
like more of the introspective person, or the whole like right now is the only time that matters?
It's the middle of the road where I think it's important that we know what our story is and what our history is, so that it'll affect the present. What are we bringing with us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because unless we've been able to cut all of our baggage and everything of our past off, which is almost impossible to do,
Mm-hmm.
it is going to influence our current
Yeah.
present. So if we're just trying to live our present, which I think is the most important thing, is to live in the now, because that's the only thing that exists.
Yeah.
Right? The past happened, and the future, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
So we might die in the next 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what next week happens,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So all that matters is now. But if we don't recognize that there is a past that is influencing us, we have to admit that and work with that, but then not let that dictate what we do now.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge the influence and then use that in a positive way, or cut the ties if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I view it.
Mm.
It's a little bit of both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I always find myself going like,
Between
I'm
the
like
two?
talking to myself. No, now.
Yeah.
You know, because right now we're in the season of winter introspection, like going, taking a look back, writing New Year's resolutions. Just all comes with this whole winter season, and so yeah, I was just having that thought of just like I'm always. And I told one of my clients today, she's like, I feel out of my body. I can't feel like I don't want to be here. Like in this state, I can't help myself. I keep eating junk food. I keep, putting myself in this rut. And like, why am I doing this to myself? I just want to, hopefully it'll click someday.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it won't just click. You have to take the action to do it.
Yeah.
Like, the only battle is with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the food.
No.
It's never the food.
It's nothing.
You.
It's always you.
Being
Yes.
in this position. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
How we demonize
Everything
food
else.
and everything
Yeah.
else, but not take responsibility
Yeah.
for ourselves and just like, oh, I hope it clicks for me someday. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another escapism.
That's so
Yeah.
like disempowering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's an easy way to go, well, I don't want to accept responsibility because that means I have to do something.
Mhm.
So I'll just blame it on something else or
Mhm.
someone else. Say, well, it's my parents' fault, or it's the gym's fault for making an expensive membership or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like it's too
Great.
expensive to go to the gym.
Oh, it's snowing outside.
I can't go to the gym. Or I can't go to the store and buy good food, so I'll just eat the junk that's here.
Yeah.
You should have junk in your house in the first place. If there's junk food in your house, that's a problem to fix that.
Yeah. Mhm.
But it's an easy way to just offload responsibility.
Mhm. But hey, all of those excuses can be valid.
Yeah.
They are so valid. Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like, who are you? Like, are you going for greatness or are you going for mediocrity? Like, if you're saying that you don't like this and
Yeah.
you're not doing anything about it, then you better shut up.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like, I hate saying that out loud, but like,
Yeah, no.
that's the real of it though.
Yeah.
It's like complaining and all of that stuff and saying that you have no or
Mhm.
acting the victim to food or something
Yeah.
that doesn't even have any feelings.
Yeah.
That's so disempowering and like how much longer do you want to stay there? And sometimes like I understand people don't even see that they're doing that
Oh,
until
yeah.
somebody like us will like, hey, that's knock that off.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
that's disempowering. You don't need to talk to yourself that way.
Yeah.
So not crazy.
Yeah. Have you ever had this feeling? Because I know when I was growing up, I moved a lot. I
Me
think
too.
you moved to
Yeah.
a few times as
Uh-huh.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I moved a lot, and every time I moved, I would like have this mindset of, oh, it's a new place. I can be a new me.
Yep.
I'm gonna try and reinvent myself.
Yep. Mhm.
I know you did that as well.
Yeah, I did that. Not like so much when I was younger because I moved a lot when I was younger.
Mm.
But like moving maybe when I was like 12 and then on, I was able to create a new. It's like nobody knows me here.
Yeah.
Or like if you go to Vegas.
Yeah. No one knows
Nobody
you.
knows me in
Yeah.
Vegas.
I can just
I can do
whatever.
whatever I want.
No one will find out.
See, like
Yeah.
everybody can relate to the
Yeah.
whole Vegas thing.
Yeah.
Because that's so true. It's like, and I wonder why did you ask me that question?
Because that happened to me. Like I did that in high school, and I did that when I went to college twice. The second time when I went to college, I didn't do it. I went, I'm just gonna why do I need to reinvent myself? I'm just gonna be me, and I don't ever have to reinvent myself. I
Huh?
can just always be me, and if people don't like me, well then.
Huh?
That's the other thing. Is like if people don't like me, I'd rather them not like me because I'm being me than not like me for being a fake me.
Yeah. Totally.
Because when you're trying to be fake and then become part of the in crowd,
Mhm.
and they still reject you,
Mhm.
that's almost worse than them rejecting you just because of you being you.
Mhm.
Because you feel like, I was trying to be like you and you still don't like me.
Mhm.
Instead of just being you,
Mhm.
and it's like accepting the fact that well, these people are different than me, so they're not going to like me. So what? I have my own friends, my own crowd that I'm part of, and that's a good thing.
Yep.
So I had to learn that, after trying to reinvent myself a few times, I went, why am I doing this?
Oh.
I just need to be me.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm being me, then it doesn't matter. I don't need to reinvent the wheel and be a new person, try and fit the crowd. Like, oh well, now these old people thought I was shy, so I'm gonna try and be extroverted and just like no, just do me, do what I want to do, and if people like me, they do. If they don't, they don't.
Well, so my story is I go with that intention of reinventing myself, but at the same time, it comes from like just trying it on.
Yeah.
And at the same time, looking back now, I feel like I didn't become who I am until those big pivotal moments of me risking
Trying something new.
Risking myself,
Yeah.
yeah. Trying on like a survey job.
Yeah.
I'm shy. I'm a desk person.
Yeah.
I don't know how to serve. Even like 3 years, I like literally. The first year, I would go into the bathroom before my shift. Like, you can do it. I would talk to myself in the mirror. I was like, okay, you're great. You're great with people. I literally had to pep talk myself every single before the shift.
Wow.
It's really funny because you would think that now because
No.
I'm just like I'm so friendly. I would talk to anybody.
Yeah.
The whole reinventing myself. I did go into new cities thinking that, but at the same time, I didn't know who I was.
Right. If you don't know who you are, then you're stuck.
See?
Yeah, you're trying to
So
figure
I
it
was
out.
just like, so I'm trying like new jobs, putting myself in different environments.
There you go. Yeah.
Like not even in a different city, but like in a different environment, and I'm testing like how is this gonna affect me? How can this help me grow? And I'm always going for like what could be more what's the positive outlook in this? You know, like the first time I started serving, you know, the restaurant business is not the nicest one. It's very quick, and you know they just and I was just like, I lived in such a sheltered, sugar-coated, silver platter, silver spoon type of world, and for me to go into the real world like that, I'm just like, I could cry, but at the same time, I was like, so this is, who am I in this experience? So, that's really interesting. Over time, we ended up talking about like this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it affects like, you know, if your entire life, you know, and that's the thing about fitness is it's very easy to think about. At least I used to think when I first started doing it. Like again, we talk about it's just a thing that you do, you know. But it's like fitness can be a sport. It can be a lot of things, but it is everything, right? If you aren't healthy physically, it's very hard to be healthy mentally. And if you aren't healthy mentally, it's very hard to be healthy physically. So everything is
where it starts.
Connected.
That's like the foundation.
Yeah.
I was like revisiting all of my intentions and my goals or whatever, like this year, of how I want it to look like, because I still don't feel like I have a grasp of having it be exciting enough for me.
Yeah.
To where like, okay, I'm ready to go, you know. But so I was looking at it and I was thinking,
Sunday, January 13th.
Sorry, I lost my
That's
thought.
okay.
So I was looking at my goals and I'm thinking, okay, so the health part, I had a health part, a family part, you know, like all those areas in life that's important that you want to work on. In health, I'm like typing out everything that I want in health. I'm like, well, this makes sense because if I have all this, everything else is available to me. It's going to be easy, but if I don't have my health and all of that stuff, it's going to be 10 times harder to achieve everything else.
Yeah.
You know? The health part is just like, I want anything and everything that will make me have more energy. You know, that will be, not the whole looking good part. It's like, I want to feel strong, have a lot of energy so that I can fulfill, like, you know, being at work and also having time to play with my family when the day's over. You know, things like that. And for everyone, it's important, like different priorities for everybody, but I think for everybody as a human being, health should be a priority.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's like the foundational priority.
Yeah.
If you don't know you're healthy, you don't really have much. You know, you gotta get that right first.
And then it's all gonna creep up onto you. You can like, you know, go along and like get through it for some time, and then all of a sudden one day it's just like, nope. Your body's like, nope, I can't keep up anymore.
Yeah.
I'm tired. Yeah.
And I think that fitness is a good way to develop that success. That first success, like if you need that for success in life, once you get that with the fitness, all of a sudden you're able to hit the next one and the next one and the next one. Like you get one thing right and you learn that discipline, right? You learn discipline and you learn how to hit a goal and you stick to what you said you were going to do and be committed. Then all of a sudden you hit the next one, everything else in your life starts to fall into place. And part of it's from the health, but a lot of it's from that discipline, right? Learning that habit and just creating that and building it over time.
Yeah, it's like saying like success is motivating.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. If you make smaller goals for yourself and you know that you can achieve it, it's like another thing that I do to help me stay positive and stay on track is I have this document that I call List of Accomplishments. I put the day, and I just started listing every single thing that I did that day while I'm going through the day. So by the end of the day, I should have a freaking long ass list. But it just like seems long because I take out the trash. Something really small, but I count everything because then if I were to be stuck at any moment, I can look back like, how am I spending my time? I did this. Like, did I give more time into like watching Netflix? Did I give more time into like, biz dev, stuff like that? You know, like. You can really, it's just a track record. Just like tracking your macros or tracking things. It's one thing to actually do in reality and have a track record of it. It's another thing to like think, oh, I might have, you can't really rely on your brain or something like that.
Yeah,
so.
It's good to have that.
What?
It looks like,
something happened over there.
End?
So this memory card's full.
Okay.
Yeah, I think lives you can only do.
For, I think we did about an hour.
Yeah, I think we did an hour.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Alright. Let's just, I'm just gonna end this real quick.
Wrap it up.
Alright, let's just wrap this up. Do you have any last, not last words, but do you have any, words to send people off with to motivate them to get their, diet, nutrition, and training and on track?
I would just say show up and do your best, and that's enough. Like, you are enough already as you are, and the fact that you wanted to try something new and make a change is enough. And just showing up is enough. And a lot of the times people, set these big goals and things like that, but they beat themselves up, and that doesn't do anybody any good. So just taking it small steps and just like showing up is enough. And then you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll end up being fine because you just want that change. So just trust in that and then just keep showing up.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah, I love that too. I
Yeah.
don't know where that came
That's
from.
a great way to end it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Alright. We'll definitely do another one sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Let me know
Cool.
whenever you guys are free.
Alright. Awesome. Alright.
This is awesome.
See you guys.
Bye.
That was fun.